Hey class, my name is Katrina Berg, and this is your first Check Your Understanding video. I'll be covering some key points on management over the next 5 minutes, and then after the video, you'll be asked to take a 5-question quiz based on what's covered. So let's get started. First, I want to talk about what is management and what do managers do. So managers are the ones that keep an organization moving forward. You'll have some frontline managers, midline managers, maybe senior managers. There's more information about that in your book. I just want to cover the key point and bring about an understanding of the different roles that managers play. Managers, they provide resources, training to employees. They make sure staff understand what their responsibilities are. They're leaders in the organization. They also analyze data in today's marketplace, and managers need to be able to look at sales numbers. They need to be able to look at customer information and ascertain what patterns might be in place, what improvements and efficiencies can be found through those numbers. So moving on and talking more about today's marketplace, there are some challenges in today's marketplace. One of the challenges that managers face is dealing with tech. So what I mean by that is new system software that would need to be installed and staff trained on. I also could provide the example of managing social media for the organization and also looking at the role that social media might play for employees. That can also touch upon human resources legal, but for purposes of this, I just want you to understand that tech is something that managers need to be aware of. Also, they are the leaders of an organization, so they're also setting the ethics and the values and introducing employees to those, making sure employees do follow those codes. Managers also are dealing with competition. They need to know what other businesses are doing. They also could set a competitive edge by being great leaders and having great staff and efficiencies in place. Finally, there's security. Managers need to make sure that security is in place for client information as well as for their employees. Recently, Target had a data breach and customer credit card information was compromised. So this is what managers need to work against. Moving on, let's talk about the different approaches to management. Often in any management discussion, of course, you'll hear something about these. Again, I just want you to be aware of them. The classical approach is an emphasis on rationality and efficiency in the workplace. The behavioral approach is a study of the organization's people at work, so looking at their behaviors. The quantitative approach, of course, is dealing with measurement. They're looking at statistics and techniques that might be in place to help improve efficiencies. Finally, contemporary approach is looking at systems and contingency, basically also looking at what's happening outside the current environment. So those are the different approaches to management. Moving on, let's talk just a little bit about organizational culture. Managers as leaders do influence that. Organizational culture is the values and behaviors of the company as individuals and as a company as a whole. They can be customer-centric, for example. It could be more formal or more informal of an organization. Informal might have an open door policy, whereas formal, you'd have to make an appointment or maybe you just don't have access to higher level managers. And today in organizational culture, there's also a focus on innovation, and that is important to keep the organization moving forward. Next, let's talk about the global environment briefly. I want you to be aware that managers also need to be cognizant of the global marketplace. Even though your company may not be working directly in the global market, it is influenced and impacted by the global market. By this, let me give you an example. A couple years back, China actually had a building boom and they were buying up concrete in the marketplace. So in doing so, it increased the demand and the price and cost of concrete. So here in the US, we felt that and it also caused housing projects and our own building projects to either be delayed or the cost became higher because of that. So again, even if you're not directly associated with a global organization or you're not global yourself, a product or item that you may purchase may be global and that will impact you. Also, I want you to be aware of global organizations. There are global alliances and trading partners. And one example of an organization might be the International Monetary Fund. They promote cooperation. They also provide loans and technical assistance to global companies and organizations. Um, an example of a regional trading alliance might be the European Union. These are countries that work together and provide certain incentives to work between each other that they may not afford other countries outside of that particular alliance. So that's it. Good luck on your quiz. Thanks, class.